Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing this June the 19th, 2025 noontime cryptocurrency update. And we're going to get right on into this. And you can see if we look at some of the news that's breaking here today, Ethereum have attracted 5.5 billion since launch with 3.3 added since mid April. Rising yields and CME futures interest reflects growing institutional demand in Ethereum. Digital acquires 19,683 ETH, growing treasury to over 120,000 Ethereum. You're starting to get the institutional playbook, that micro strategies implemented, and you're starting to get more and more of that, which is going to get very, very interesting when there is another bear market, because there's always a bear market, especially in crypto. They're telegraphed, they're prototypical, they follow a playbook. And that's going to get very interesting wherever that bear market sets up, and some of the weaker, more vulnerable companies that try to take on this playbook that get underwater if they accumulate right at a top and they don't have any fortitude to last anything, any risk to the downside, and that'll get very interesting. But right now, the Ethereum price is still pumping with the institutional momentum, and you can see we're clearly over the 3469 top part of that green support and resistance box. You can see how quick we traded through it, sort of like we thought we would if we got above it. Now, what we thought we would see is a brief consolidation, and that's what you're getting here. And your major support level now, short term, is 3486, the top part of the screen support box, and your target that you're working towards right now is 3961, or the $4,000 mark, going up near that all-time high or the upper end of this rising channel, which if we move that over to the current day, it's at 3921, and that is our current upper target, is the upper end of this rising channel. And then if we zoomed out into the daily time frame, you can see the moving averages after that super bullish cross. You got the 50-day accelerating quickly. You got the 100-day just moved across the 200-day. So we've had the golden bullish cross where the short term is on top and the long term is on the bottom and the medium term is in the middle, signifying a significant uptrend for a period of time. And you can see that's exactly what we've had happen here. You can see we're about to retest the all-time high from back here at 4867, and we're going to mark that because I do believe Ethereum will finally break its all-time high over up here, which is about $4,800. But in the short term, what I would watch for this weekend on any kind of consolidation, or today, is the 3486. And then if you dip below the 3486, obviously your major underneath support is the bottom part of the screen, support and resistance box. But you have a major mid-ground support level of $3,333. That just so happens to be where that landed. You can see the XRP price hasn't hit an all. Some exchanges, depending on what site and the chart you're looking at, has hit an all-time high of $3.65. But Coinbase, it was on in 2017, and you actually hit $3.80 on the Coinbase chart. And maybe we'll be able to pull that up here. But on my Coinbase account, it does show that XRP Coinbase, Coinbase. Do we have XRP on Coinbase? Uh, that's odd. Should be on here. XRP Coinbase. I don't know. That's futures. That might be. Yeah, that's different. That's futures. But I'll show you on my account at a different time when I have more time, maybe tonight. But it did go up to 380 on Coinbase in 2017, that blow off top, right? And if we look at the XRP, you can see we've consolidated a little bit, what you would expect after we did, for all intents and purposes, whoops, hit our targeted move. If we get back to the XRP chart, we hit our targeted move right here. From the bottom to the top, on the point of the breakout, we had a 376 technical target. We came up to 366, so just shy of it, but essentially hit the technical target. Now we're consolidating. And what I would look for in a consolidation now for the short term, the moving averages are obviously well below the price, and these are going to be accelerating to the upside as long as the price stays elevated about where it's at now. Come on. I don't get why it does that. Then it makes you get, you know what, just get rid of that then. If you're not going to, just delete that. If you're going to be that much of a problem, get rid of that. Oh my God. Here, is that isolated enough? There's the 100-day, and then there's the 200-day. Now, what I'd be looking at on this consolidation on XRP is if we zoom in, get to the full screen. Now that we know where our daily time frame lines up, we'll go into the 2 hourly, and you can see on a bullish consolidation, you got multiple bullish consolidation levels. Now that you've appreciated so much so quickly, you can come down to the 304, and that's a very bullish consolidation where you could see a pump like that. But you could also come all the way down to the 256, and that's your real short term bullish or bearish line. As long as you're above this 256 major horizontal resistance, that has been major resistance and support for quite some time, just above the three moving averages, the 200, the 50, and the 100, you can see from red to blue to green below, is your major bullish or bearish short-term signal. As long as you're above that 256, you can see how many times you got rejected by it. Rejected, a whole slew of rejections back there, and we can continue to go as far back as you want to see this support and resistance. You can see all the rejections you had back there. That is your new major support level. It was a major resistance level, and that was broke the pattern that we were in. That got us down to $1.61 from $3.40 over 6 months. That was the pivot bottom, and that was the key indicator that broke, that we said we were probably going up much, much higher in the short term. But that is still a bullish consolidation all the way down to that 257. You wouldn't become short to medium term bearish confirmed until you got below that 257, right? So that's what we're looking like in the short term. In the long term, going into 2026, 2027, it could happen much quicker. You can see one of our tracks did have you pumping all the way up here to $20, and I didn't believe that. But we're up here at nearly $4 now, and I do have a, which seems low for right now for where the price just pumped up to. But I do have a target between $4 and $7 by the end of 2027, and that's something that even though when we thought we were coming down to this $1.29, and you got to remember where the call was made, giving you a better buying opportunity, and that's what we were emphasizing after that last major pump to 340. We said we were coming down to $1.29. We didn't quite get down there. We came all the way down to $1.61. So the better buying opportunity did happen because from swing high to swing low, you had a 53% correction, and $1.61 is a lot closer to the 60 cents than the 340 on the buying opportunity. And that's again would be my advice now, is it just pumped 1x over about 1 week, 2 weeks. I would say there should be some kind of consolidation again, which is prototypical for XRP and crypto. They always have a big pullback after a big pump. And you can actually see two of the tracks right here did call this beautifully just a month early, and you can see that. And that's about where we pumped up to now. But then both of those show a consolidation to the downside. So that's what we're going to watch out for. But in the long term, going into next year, I think unless this is just going to continue now, I can't predict the future, but whether it does or not now, I believe by the end of next year, we're going to be between $4 and $7 in XRP at the end of this current bull market, right? Before we have another bear market, because there's always bear markets in crypto. So we talked about Bitcoin, or we talked about Ethereum, we talked about XRP. XLM is a similar thing that a similar pump, and you can see the moving averages obviously again in this are pumping way to the upside, and we've done a better job updating these over the last 48 hours. But you can see where we're at now. We're just below the 55 cents. We're below the 80-cent all-time high, I believe. We're consolidating sideways, and the same thing on this. And a consolidation to the downside, even though we have falling volume, up and sideways consolidation after a massive pump. The technicals say that's a bearish formation, and we should have a consolidation. Obviously, crypto does whatever it wants, but a bullish consolidation can come to the 43, and as far as the 36 cents, the top part of the screen support and resistance box, that is a bullish consolidation all the way down in the short term to medium term to 36 cents. You don't get short to medium term bearish again till you got below the 36 cents into that green trading box. That would be your indicator that we're short term bearish. Any of those other two consolidations, if they hold, it's a bullish consolidation. If you break the 55 cents, your next target is the all-time high at 80 cents. Uh, there still is possibly could be another consolidation to the downside, but we did have a beautiful call on XLM when it was at 63 cents. We laid out an 18-cent target followed by a move to 43 cents. We didn't get to 18 cents. I should have took 19,920 is close enough. It went down 67, 68%. And then we had the rally. We gave you an industry best call there, and I'm very proud of that call over 6 months. And we called it right just after that wick high on that weekend with the grayscale filing. Called the beautiful buying opportunity, giving Jabroni Killer members as well as the community a better buying opportunity to take advantage of it if you so desired. And now we have this 1x pump. And again, I can't stress it enough. Could this pump straight to 80 cents or a dollar? Yes, it could. But after a 1x move in the short span of about 3 weeks, or a 140% move from swing low to swing high. I would never advise chasing that. And you can see now in the hour time frame, you have had a consolidation. And what I've noticed here is this has given us the most of a signal out of any of these coins where you have a well-defined double top there. And if that is to be believed and it is to be true, that could be what brings you back down to a bullish consolidation to 36 cents or more closer to the price, 43 cents over the weekend. So these are the critical areas I'm watching this weekend and today. 43 cents, 36 cents as bullish consolidations, and 55 cents as a major upper resistance to catapult to 80 cents. These are what the areas that I'm watching this weekend. The Bitcoin price, what I'm going to round out with, is consolidated just like we thought we would, because this track that has been dead on has a consolidation there just after one of the tracks. We've had four there, but you can see that one's been dead on uh, in the short time that it's been on here, and it's got a consolidation here. And if it is to be followed, we would have a consolidation through the weekend, and then next week sometime you'd have a massive pump. Ah, come on, a massive pump to the 156 to the upper part of this rising channel. Does that mean it's got to happen? No. If we if we get bearish to this in the short term this weekend, what I'd be watching out for bearish short term action and support is the 50 days major support, and obviously the super support is the 100-day moving average, because that's running right along the pattern support from back in 2021, 2022 after the mountain double topping bottom low of their late 2022 and early 2023. We've been into this rising channel ever since. So in the short term this weekend, to stay bullish, stay above the 104, $109,000 rising channel support. If you get below the rising channel at about 104 at current price, that's short to medium term bearish. As long as you're in this rising channel, you're short to medium term bullish. Obviously, everyone's long term bullish. And if we stay short to medium term bullish, you go to 156,631 and change. If you start to get short-term bearish, you have an underneath major short-term support of 97,264.33 cents. Like the channel, subscribe. Sorry for not making a video last night. Was feeling a little under the weather for some reason last night. Peace and love. Sunny midsummer, chilly, 69 degrees. Jay. Peace and love. The Rock's eyebrow.